Venezuela's foreign minister has called for the strengthening of multilateral institutions after a meeting with the UN Secretary General and a separate meeting with members of the non-aligned movement to drum up support for President Nicolas Maduro. Jorge Arreaza again accused the United States of openly leading a coup against Caracas. Sherwin Bryce-Pease has this report.
He says his country is the victim of an international assault led by the United States, accusing Washington of acting like a neo-imperialist colonial dictatorship of the world.
The Maduro government has denied there's a humanitarian crisis in the country despite acute shortages of food and medicine, among other necessities. A convoy of trucks with aid supplies sent by the United States has been blocked from entering the country via the border with Colombia, with Foreign Minister Arreaza laying the blame firmly at Washington's doorstep.
The US president earlier indicated military action was not off the table after they formally recognized opposition leader Juan Guaido as interim president.
Que el gobierno que te amenaza con el uso de la fuerza.
A government that is threatening you with the use of force, threatening you with an evasion, with a blockade, that gives orders to other countries for them to block you. Do they really want to provide you with humanitarian aid? Let's be serious. That would be quite absurd. This is a hostile government that's killing you, and then they want to help you out. That doesn't make any sense. So let's be consistent. If it's a blockade on Venezuela, well, you need to lift the sanctions, because the United Nations Charter doesn't give any legal authority to the US government to impose coercive unilateral measures outside international law.
In a tweet, US National Security Advisor John Bolton warned that nations and companies who support what he called Maduro's theft of Venezuelan resources would not be forgotten. Arreaza believes the US administration is principally responsible for his country's economic hardship.
Suffering is something we've already seen because sanctions imposed by the US have already led to immense suffering. And if it goes further, then Donald Trump would have blood on his hands. So that is why we want to avoid a coup d'etat. We want to avoid any kind of intervention in Venezuela, because it would only lead to an even worse situation, and it would be a situation akin to what happened in Vietnam.
The country's chief diplomat said his government was open to dialogue with an opposition that was not taking instructions from Washington. Meanwhile, Guaido announced Tuesday that despite the military blockade, he would be able to get some humanitarian aid into the country before the end of the month. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.